5 lessons we learn from the story of Job and the man born blind. The story of Job and the man born blind are essentially the same story told in two different testaments. They both feature a sufferer, a group of religious spectators, and a God who steps in to correct the spectators. Here are 5 massive lessons these two stories teach us about sin, consequences, and suffering. Number 1, God does not operate on a karma system. Both Job's friends and the disciples of Jesus believed in one simple equation. Sin in is equals to suffering out. Job's friends believed that he lost his family, his health, and his wealth because he had sinned secretly. The disciples of Jesus believed that the man was born blind because he either sinned or his parents sinned. But both God in the book of Job and Jesus in the New Testament show us a different equation. Suffering is not always a calculator of our morality. You can be righteous and still be attacked like Job. You can be innocent like a baby, but because you've been born into a fallen world, you get to suffer like the man born blind. Whenever we tell people that their suffering is punishment from God, we are lying to them and we are lying about God. Suffering is not always a result of sin. Lesson 2, we are called to be healers, not judges. These are practical shifts from religion to kingdom. Why? Job's friends spent days trying to find the cause of the problem. They were acting like judges. Jesus spent zero time arguing about the cause of the blindness. Jesus focused entirely on the solution. He was a healer. Religion wastes time trying to find out why something is happening. Why are we suffering? Is it because of sin? Is it a test? Is it a generational curse that is following me? But Jesus teaches us to ask, how can the works of God be manifested in this? How can the works of God be displayed in this? As a believer, your job is not to explain to people why they are suffering. Your job is not to explain to people why they are broken. Your job is to introduce them to the one who fixes them. Lesson 3, God is the vindicator, not the accuser. In both stories, there is a sort of a courtroom atmosphere where Satan is the accuser in the story of Job, and the disciples in the book of John are the ones pointing fingers, looking for faults, looking for sin, and demanding judgment. But both stories show us God's position. God stands on the side of the sufferer. In Job 42, God defends Job against his friends. In John chapter 9, Jesus defends the blind man against the disciples' theology. And later, in the same chapter, against the Pharisees, who cast him out simply because they cannot understand how he has been healed. So God is not the one who is listing your sins and faults in order to justify your pain. He's the one that is standing between you and your accuser. He is your defense attorney, not your prosecutor. Lesson 4, God's glory is restorative, not destructive. God receives his glory in restoring, not destroying. This is the correction in John chapter 9 verse 3. Religion teaches that God's glory is found in his power to crush and punish like a dictator. But Jesus reveals that the glory of God is found in his goodness. The glory of God is found in his power to heal, to restore, and to deliver like a father. In Job, God didn't get glory in Job's suffering. He got glory when he restored Job double for his trouble. In John chapter 9, God did not get glory from the man's blindness. He got glory when the man received his sight. And so the lesson is, God does not break things in order to show that he is strong. He fixes the broken things to show that he is good. If it is killing, stealing, and destroying, that's not God's glory. That is the thief. And finally, lesson 5, God is the solution, not the explanation. What do I mean? In the book of Job, Job and his friends screamed for 30 chapters asking why. God never answered the why. Instead, God revealed himself to Job. And when Job saw God, he didn't need that answer anymore. In fact, he did not even ask a question anymore because he had found his solution. In John chapter 9, the disciples ask, why was this man born blind? Jesus ignored the theological debate and simply revealed the nature of God, the nature of the Father, by healing the man. God rarely gives us an explanation for why we are suffering, because the answer is usually just we live in a fallen world or the enemy. That's always the answer. Instead, he gives us his presence. He gives us his solution. He doesn't send a pamphlet trying to explain why you are blind or why you are sick. Instead, he sends a person to open your eyes. He sends a person to heal your sickness. He sends a person to point you to Christ, who is your solution. In summary, religion tries to tell you that God is the one burning your house in order to teach you a lesson. Jesus reveals that God is the one who runs into the flames to rescue you out of the fire.